Welcome to my review. If you are interested in the product, please see the link below the video description. It's been almost 17 years now since the first Roomba was introduced. In some ways they've changed quite a lot, but in others things have mostly stayed the same. They still mostly rely on virtual walls to stay out of dangerous areas. They still look like oversized hockey pucks. And you still need to clean the brushes daily if you've got pets with long fur, unless you feel you're overburdened with money. But apparently now that the Roomba is almost old enough to vote, iRobot has decided that the time has come for some changes. The S9 Plus has abandoned just about all the classic Roomba design cues in the name of producing a robot vacuum that is far more capable than any model I've seen in just about every way. And I love every bit of it. To begin, the new design. The hockey puck look has been completely abandoned for a U-shaped design that more and more devices have been adopting as of late, and I'm very pleased to see it. The circular body design was effective at stopping the Roomba from getting stuck, but you paid for it in terms of coverage. With the brushes placed right between the wheels, they could never get any closer than about 2 inches to baseboards, furniture, or doors. Rotating edge brushes set ahead of the wheels attempted to fix this by directing debris towards the center, but as anyone who used Roombas regularly could tell you, it was far from a perfect solution. With the S9's squared-off front, it can go places an older Roomba never could. They've also been able to make the brushes bigger and better protected against the dangers of cat hair wrapping itself around the bearings or cutting through the brushes. I've still been clearing them about every other day out of habit, but outside of shedding season, one think you could probably let it go for a week and not run into any serious problems. Roombas were already just about the best thing you could imagine when it came to managing pet hair, but I think this is the first one I can believe won't eventually be killed by it. Now, generally, you'd expect the addition of corners to mean the Roomba is less maneuverable than its cylindrical brethren. And that might have been the case if not for the improved navigation system, which verges on magical. While it did spend the first couple of days unsuccessfully stumbling around my apartment and getting itself into trouble, at the end of each attempt it presented me with a basic overview of what it had learned about the shape of my home. By the third day this had turned into a rudimentary map complete with dividing lines indicating where it thought the transitions were between the different rooms. Some manual tweaking was still required to get it right, but I have to say it got a lot closer than I expected it could, even spotting the barely there transition between my living room and dining room. And all of this was manageable from iRobot's excellent app for the vacuum, which provides you with all the statistics you could ever need, as well as notifications on what the thing is doing, an advanced scheduling feature, and even an option to set how loud the vacuum's motor is allowed to get and how many passes it should make over a single area. Once the system knows the topography it's working with, there really is no need for virtual walls, and no worries about the tracking grid from your VR setup inadvertently turning the entire living room into a no-robot zone. Watching the system gradually learn how not to get stuck was surprisingly entertaining too, though for those of you who are less amused by such things may just want to make use of the training mode, which just has the Roomba drive through the house for a few hours without trying to clean anything until it's got a good sense for the layout. The final feature is, of course, the fact that this is the second self-cleaning Roomba. When the Roomba returns to the charging base, there's a port on the underside leading directly to a sealed-off compartment within the dust bin that forms a seal with a matching port on the base. Within the base is another, more powerful vacuum that sucks all the dust and debris straight out of the bin and into a small disposable bag that they claim holds about 30 bins worth. I'd say, based on my experience after a week of cleaning up after both a cat and a dog, that this looks slightly optimistic, but your mileage may vary. And speaking as someone who often would forget to empty the bin for several days, it's a nice thing to have. Now, having gushed about just how awesome this thing is, I do have to admit there are a couple of downsides. To start, the machine vision system that the Roomba uses doesn't work well in the dark. In fact, it really doesn't seem to work at all in the dark. This was a bit disappointing, as I generally prefer to let it do its thing in the wee hours of the morning before the sun's up and the animals are too tired to try riding on it. Of course, I probably wouldn't be doing that with this anyway, thanks to the other downside. Quiet is not a word I'd use to describe this thing. It's also a pretty talented climber. The first time I tried to run it, I missed one of my dog's chew toys while cleaning the floor. It had absolutely no trouble climbing up over the hard nylon bone and getting it caught within the brushes. No damage was done, but it's certainly got some blind spots which you'll want to be aware of if you've got pets and/or small children in the house. Despite these few nitpicks, overall I have to say I'm extremely happy with the performance of the S9 Plus, and look forward to many years of not having to think about cleaning to come. Thank you for watching.